first of all, as Dr. Batra very kindly mentioned, I write on technology a lot. So a lot of my conversations are quantitative. And so it's lovely to have this qualitative conversation because it's sort of a change from the numbers and it actually talks about things I write about. And so first of all, I would just like to throw open a question for all of you, and if we could take it turn by turn, is just, what does ROI for purpose mean for you and, who you represent?
Shall I give it a go? Sorry. Hi. So Shantanu, I'm very much in the same boat as you. My background is MarTech, and then switched over to ad tech, and the world is converging, right? That's the ecosystem that a marketer is living in 2025. There's no silos anymore. There cannot be any silos anymore. So when it comes to ROI, I would say that specifically for purpose-driven campaigns, and I'm going to wear an agency lens and a brand lens here, outcome is everything. Whether it is a purpose-driven campaign or it is CSR, at the end of the day, every function, every team has to report back in terms of what was the engagement, what was the impact on brand value, right? What was the impact on brand goals? There's so many campaigns out there that have a very specific purpose, which is more social in nature, but it also has quantifiable metrics associated with it that teams have to report back. And I think those are the campaigns that do scale. That's where you can justify spends year on year saying that, for these purpose-driven campaigns, these CSR initiatives, sustainability initiatives, we should continue spending. Dove with body positivity, for example, right? Vipin, over to you.
Yeah, I think I agree with her because as a marketer, we see two very important things. One is definitely the customized way of doing things so that we can have an ROI in place. Second is the brand prominence that we want to get from the ROIs or from that campaign. Both things work in tandem though. I won't shy away by saying that a bit of old school because I've been in marketing for more than 20 years now. But the way the word is moving and it's more targeted now. The plan of actions or the ROIs are building upon more on online rather than offline. That's one study that I have. And we all are a part of it. Everyone in the room is actually can vouch for it. The phones that we have, the technology that we drive. Dr. Batra has rightly mentioned that if you keep the phone at one side, is it possible? I really don't think so. That become a life. So that become a life together. And that actually gets you to the tone of, at the end would be that ROI, which is driven of purpose. Over to you.
So, Shantanu, I think a very relevant topic. ROI of purpose for us, so I represent STL, which is a manufacturer, Sterling Technologies. And for us, it is the actual impact on ground that we are making. And it's, since we are in a B2B space, a lot of our products are being used, which are further used by our customers and their customers and globally. So for us, what we put in our products and then how it impacts the carbon neutrality or the carbon emissions, that has a cascading effect. So so the ROI of purpose for us is how much trust we can build, which goes through our processes, and it's not, since it's manufacturing, it's actual impact. What kind of emissions are we creating or are we reducing? And it's also about it's also customer requirement these days that they have certain, since we are a global player, we serve US, UK, European and Indian markets. So for us, in certain markets, the green products are the way to go. Otherwise, it's very difficult for you to sell as well. So for us, since we have been from origin, we have been purpose driven. So it is not a new challenge that comes in, that now, since there is something, now you have to do purpose. It is already ingrained in the existence of the company. And this is also important from the future relevance perspective. If you are not purpose driven and you are not doing things the right way or doing good, you will cease to exist. So ROI is second, but it is related to our existence. So that's how I would put it.
And that's a lovely way to put it. And you know, I'm just so happy we had this conversation because, first of all, because you represent very specific brands, whereas you represent a sort of a
plethora of
multitude
them.
of no, and I've been doing a lot of work on FMCG. So if I may start with you, you know, you mentioned Dove's body positivity, which is amazing. It's a great concept. But how do you sort of convince the brands you're working with that they need to have a purpose in their messaging as they go out to sell?
I'm going to break that down into, I think we shouldn't need to convince as long as it has an endemic impact on the brand objectives. The need to conversation will not happen, right? And that's kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier in terms of return on investment and marketing efficiency ratios and whatever other metric you're looking at, right? So from an FMCG perspective, I think there's a larger debate also happening, and Vipin and Rohit can contribute to this, which is rather, you know, in the space of brand versus performance marketing. Now, if you're going to have a purpose-driven campaign, say, you know, Dove for Positivity, or the biggest one right now, Vigilante, right? Vigilante is massive. It has CSR. It has a purpose, very clear purpose, and it has a significant impact on the brand. Trust, the point that you brought up, right? HDFC is the equivalent of Tata in the banking sector. And so it covers all of those bases, but it also has inbuilt digital in it. It has channels that are very, very closely integrated into the campaign structure, which allow you to measure performance, which allow you to measure reach, which allow you to measure engagement, right? And omnichannel, the haloed ground of connecting the dots, right? So the campaign design, the campaign strategy, what insight led to that campaign in itself would, you know, take care of that need. We wouldn't have to force fit a campaign, right? Whisper, for example, with what they did with their period education campaign, right? Getting girls back into classrooms. It checks off all of those boxes again from an FMCG perspective, right? So there's so many examples there. So I think it's really about going back to the fundamentals and going back to what Vipin, you were talking about old school, like, you know, getting back to the basics and saying, what is our category? Where is the brand at? What is the clear brand purpose and objective? And therefore, what does it mean in terms of the campaigns that we're going to build out of that, right? And subsequently, the measurement. And measurement, you know, it is traditional measurement. It is brand lift. It is brand awareness. It is message recall. None of that changes, right?
See, actually in our case, our purpose is connected to what we do. So I'll just state out our purpose, which is transforming billions of lives by connecting the world. And our products, which are optical fiber cables, optical connectivity products, our enterprise solution and data center solutions. So all these products are enabling connectivity across the globe. So if I, you know, kind of project it further, so connectivity and internet today is basic. Right? Without that, you can't grow in whichever part of the world you are, right? And then just imagine in less than 2 decades, how the entire world has changed, and connectivity is central to it. So, and then our purpose is similar to what we essentially sell. And again, purpose can't be standalone, where you are just doing purpose, but you're not making money, right? It has to be sustainable, it has to be profitable for it to continue. Otherwise, it will cease to exist. So that's where, you know, I feel the connection between your purpose and what you do has to be connected. It can't be at a surface level that, you know, it's a good statement to make. Let us make that statement. But down below, you are not living it. So, and you might continue for some time, but after that, it starts reflecting and people will see through.
And that's so interesting because you were talking about essentially building connections, and of course you mentioned old school, which I love because that brings me directly to because your company is facilitating a very basic need, which is food, right? And but it is perhaps slightly in a premium category, which it would be
Sure.
fair to view it as that. And so, how do you sort of reconcile the premium part of it against the purpose, and because of course you want to have a positive impact.
Yeah, you rightly mentioned food brings smile on the face. People are happy when they are out for having a good food. When they're at the restaurant, what do they think? What is a customer thought process that gets him? Two basic things. One, they are brand loyal, definitely yes, which they get. Second is the offers. Now the game starts, and the ROI on that purpose starts from there. To put it in the right way, let's bucket it into three formats. I think let's put it into authenticity, consistency, and we could also talk about integration. When talk about authenticity, so Punjab Gill been in this space for more than 18 years now. The brand which was there serving one of the best North Indian cuisines. And fortunately for us, the share goes something like this, that North Indian cuisines takes a major chunk of share as compared to other cuisines. So it is more than 40% for the group to know. Now here, as the share is big, definitely their competition is also very intense. And everybody would want to have a pie out of that share, a consistent one, by saying that we are the best North Indian food that we are serving. So now, purpose has been derived that, we were clear about one thing for sure. In the space for the last 18 years, we have spent the time, and with the time that we have got not only the people in, but their trust in. So now that also brings out to the level that the consistency was there. With the consistent way that we have been progressing and would like to progress further, it was very imperative for the brand to give a very clear image that the consistency would be on food, service, and the ambience. And the ROIs which would be driven would be through certain level of trust level that we can build, maybe through certain level of campaigns that we want to do, festivals that we want to do. What happens with these small nuances, they connect people, or they will invite people to get back to the brand if they have not been experiencing for some time. And definitely this also gives us an opportunity to get to new customers. These campaigns, these festivals, when they connect with the customers, they would see some newness which is coming. It's very important for a brand to have a connect with the customer again and again by not saying that I'm only one, or the brand is old, so let's be here. Otherwise, I think it won't be late that we could be, I'm so sorry, I'm using a name like Nokia or XYZ brands who have actually thought that nothing to do more, whatever has been achieved has been achieved. Having said that, the way it has come out, the customers were always looking for new things. Now these campaigns and festivals, which are ROI driven, also give us an opportunity to connect with them by giving us something new. So for example, we are known for dal makhani and butter chicken. So now that's a course. Though our friends in competition, which is Daryaganj, Moti Mahal, they have gone to High Court as well to take that bait, which we are very comfortable with, because we do not, we want to be there and we are there, but we don't shout out. Let the customer say it. So now that's the purpose. And to drive that purpose, it's important for us to be aware and respect our actually, our old standing, which we are have a kind of a legacy. Now that comes to authenticity. Now authenticity, when I say, we mean that what are we giving, or are we were giving for last 18 years the same thing? I hereby stand and happy to say yes. We keep on adding new products, but it's very important to not to leave the core, which is authenticity, when people have that kind of an imagery. Third would also come into integration. Now the integration is a new world to step into. Herein we have partners who have stepped into with us to help us to get new customers. See, we all here would agree and abide with this point and stand for it that offers are very important. So we do. But it all depends that is the offer driving the restaurant or the restaurant is driving the offer. So now the purpose and the ROI has to be in tandem and to have a very, very perfect mix of equation that what is going where. My premiumness will stand, or it might get impacted if my discounts are more. But would not it be a kind of an aspiration that I am giving to the customer that come and dine with me? Yes, I am. But it is not going to be always. Then it comes on to that level of campaign. That I do certain offers to get new customers in, become the brand aspiration, and from there we move on. There is always a possibility that when people who are only offer driven, they might not come back. But there another level to it, or another face of it to see is that the brand standing is so strong that people would like to become it as a destination. They have to celebrate certain occasions, they definitely will be coming back to us. I totally agree, and we sometimes also discuss internally that campaigning and ROI would definitely lead to a certain level of leadership skills as well, because these are the times when n number of restaurants are coming into this space. So it is now depend on all these three factors, which is consistency, authenticity, and integration, that we can make the customer stay with us. So, yeah. Okay.
And thank you so much for that. And Rohit, you mentioned that you are helping your customers connect their customers, right? And so how is it sort of built into your brand to sort of communicate that purpose to them, that that we are providing this service, and so
so I'll clarify that now. So we operate at our purpose at two levels. So one is the communities where we operate. So for example, we have plants in US, in Italy, we have Aurangabad, we have multiple facilities. So I'll just take example of Aurangabad and say India. So we have multiple initiatives which are related to women empowerment, education, healthcare, environment, and here we make impact through how many lives we have touched. For example, in the just FY that has ended, we have touched more than 4 million lives, where we have empowered women in the region of Pune. Then in Aurangabad region, there's almost 3 million cubic meter of water that has been replenished and given back. Then more than 3 lakh trees have been planted. So these are some of the impact on the community that we do. Then at the product or industry level, what we do. So we are in fact world's #1 integrated plant, which is creating both optical fiber as well as optical fiber cable. And we are zero waste to landfill certified. So I'll explain what is zero waste to landfill. So essentially there is nothing that goes into landfill from our plant. Okay, and this is not happening today. This is happening for years now. Similarly, we are zero liquid discharge unit. So there's zero liquid that goes into the drain. Okay, so everything that we have, it gets replenished. Okay, then we have circular economy. What do we mean by circular economy? Almost 65% of the waste that gets generated is kind of a raw material for the industries which are around our region. So our waste that is created is a raw material for textile industry, metal industry, and a lot of other industries around. So with that, the purpose is not something which acts like a something hanging on your head that you have to comply with. It's a way of life that you are living with it, and then it's embedded. It's a process that you are living with. You're not forced to do it. That's the way of life. So
And this is such an interesting panel because, so I must confess, so I used to be a food writer for several years in a food
Great.
restaurant. And I actually studied Aurangabad. I was an Italian student.
lovely.
So, and that brings me to my present. First of all, Berlin, I'm so sorry. I'm going to be bothering you after this. I'm so really sorry. But, I think the point I made about the quantifiable versus the qualifiable sort of struck a chord with you because
Every day in my life.
every day of my life as well. And so I'm just curious because you handle, like so many different brands and so many different verticals. That sense of responsibility, is that quantifiable, and how do you sort of communicate that?
Are you asking me this question as an agency person or an ex-marketer or a consultant?
I would
Which hat shall I wear for the answer?
I would love every answer.
Well, as an agency, obviously we have a responsibility to our brands to execute those campaigns and deliver the outcomes that they're expecting from it, right? That's the agency hat. Is it expected to be quantifiable? For sure. We are breathing metrics, whether it's our creative side of the business. I saw a beautiful framework today that connected the dots between insights, strategy, creatives, and then media. Right? Now, that's the entire consulting and agency ecosystem. There's KPIs everywhere, right? You've got loyalty, for example, in the topic today. So loyalty is what? Net Promoter Score. If we're looking at a purpose-driven brand, then we'd be looking at Net Trust Score, for example. The formulas are there, the metrics are there. On the brand side, they're a little more difficult to calculate. They're a more labor-intensive exercise. On the performance side, yes, of course, you can get it out of a dashboard. Google and Meta, as Anurag referred to earlier, right? So there's degrees of complexity, but yes, there are, there's accountability that is needed across the board. From a brand's perspective, I think for the most mature brands, NPS is bread and butter. Especially I look after retail media, like today, that's an emerging space. It's taking a whole chunk of, budgets, and it's driving customers and brands towards that hyper-local engagement. How do you get to the last mile? Especially in the clutter that is digital, how do I differentiate myself, right? And for that, I have to be where the customer is. Now, that customer could be purchasing, that customer could be eating food at Punjab Grill, that customer could be on LinkedIn and is part of procurement and making B2B decisions. Like, what is that moment in time, right? So from a brand's perspective, that responsibility transcends in terms of sort of functional metrics and then team metrics. Has it been figured out yet? I'll be honest with you, no. It's sort of, it's still emerging, right? And then I think those are the two, I think, broad lenses I would take to it, which is the agency perspective and the brand perspective. But I do, I will go back to what you said, Rohit, earlier in terms of, it's baked into your model, right? Going back to FMCG, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but FMCG, Luxstan, for example, luxury. I'm going to converge the 2 points. They're literally the only ones at this point in time that is saying that we've got refill packages for a premium product. It's not easily affordable in the environment. You can walk into a store and instead of buying a full bottle, which is brand differentiation at its core, what my packaging looks like, you can buy refills. Right? So can you transcend that into your actual business model, and what are the insights that are driving it? And that's where the youth comes in, right? That's where the new generation comes in. Who do they want to associate with? Kind of a longish answer to that question, but I hope I answered it.
Oh, no, I shall bother you for a story after this. And, we'll take a slight break here in the sense that I'm just curious, what are some campaigns that really resonated with each of you, that really sort of, you saw the integration of purpose into the brand in the campaign. So,
I'll take that. So we in the recent past we had gone live with a cable which was optical fiber cable which was eco-label certified. So this was the first cable which was eco-label certified through a third party. And what it does is it gives the confidence to the buyer that right from the sourcing of the raw material to the process of manufacturing that cable to creating the finished product and then selling it to the customer. End to end, the emissions, the energy used, how it has been used, what kind of products or the raw material has been put, from where it has been procured, and in which kind of facilities it has been made. Are those green energy powered? Are they zero waste landfill certified? Are they zero liquid discharge certified? So all those parameters, so there are like multiple parameters which a third party has, and it's a European based methodology. It maps end-to-end chain, and you provide a level, that silver level, gold level. So our products were in gold and silver. That gives a confidence to the buyer that it's not just a greenwashing that is happening. It's a and anyone can say anything, but how will you prove it? So at least in our domain, where it's a physical product that you are using, and our product is buried under the ground, right? It is right outside this facility where we are sitting. It is used in data centers, and it's everywhere, wherever you see the roads that you are taking, the highways you are driving. There's probably a cable, optical fiber cable, which is going right beside it. So the impact of our products is large, and that's where we through this campaign and the product campaign that we did was focusing on two aspects, talking about the product, its USP obviously, and what it's doing or how it is traceable in its entire value chain. So again, relating it back, it was not marketing of the purpose. It was combined. It was talking about the product, that it's good. Again, there were product benefits as well. It used almost 18 to 20% recycled products. It used 52% lesser energy while creating that particular product. And at the same time, it was certified, and our customers also, they get an opportunity by buying such products. They are making their supply chain more sustainable. They are making their networks, more carbon neutral. So it's that confidence where we are combining our product features and the purpose, not just for the sake of purpose. It's again coming from the intent of staying true, doing good, and then making it again, I'm repeating it probably for the third time, but making it our life, and then the way of work, not just another thing to say. Something just came to my mind as a top example.
It's a difficult question though. I'll tell you why, because the space where we are, it's every day we need to have something new by taking old things intact. So lately what we did here is, we were trying to figure out levels with which we can have a more connect with the customers, or we were trying to figure out how or what customers are looking at. So for example, if my restaurant is at a corporate place, so what happens here is, what do corporates have in the afternoon? They don't have time. They just want to rush back to the office. So what we did here is, we did a piloting or a campaigning on a star product. We took out 10 products from the menu, which can be readily available in no time. And they're my star products. So on the back end, we have devised the process in such a manner that the curries and the breads has to be just on go. I mean, they have to be built up. This actually gave us a bump up of close to what 12% in the total sales. And my restaurant is a matured and a good restaurant. Yeah. On the other hand, this is just one tactical that we be doing now. On the other hand, over a period of time, we have started owning Punjabiyat. Now, this space is a very big space to talk about because North Indian cuisine, when it is said, it automatically gets all those nuances in it, it gets all those taste in it. But we thought that what else can be done, so we came to this word Punjabiyat. And from there, now we have started tying knot with everything that we do. So to give you an example, a very recent example, day for yesterday, I hope everyone is aware about Met Gala, what happened at Met Gala, Daljit Dosanjh. We thought to utilize this opportunity and we got a model just dressed up like Daljit Dosanjh. Now what did Daljit Dosanjh did? It started trending with the Punjabiyat on the go. And if you ask today, everyone is so very, I mean, they're just full of warmth right now with Punjab that this gentleman has got on the platform of global levels when nobody could even think about it. So we were just replicated it. And fortunately, my restaurants, my ambience, I don't know how many of you visit, but my ambience, my restaurant has photographs of Punjab related things. In fact, Maharaja of Patiala is also there. So now we got this gentleman in. He started interacting at two best of my restaurants. One was in Saket, another was in Ambience Mall, Gurgaon. And then the talk started. People started clicking photographs. I got him out of the restaurant. People were talking about it. So what we were doing here is now slowly and steadily we have started connecting the dots. That it's not about the food, but the experience that we're going to give you. So that remembrance, that connect is going to start off. So we've been doing it for some time. On our social media also, like on Valentine's, everyone would know what the tone of the whole world would be. So we went a little more. We went to Hiranja, Shri Farhad, and we took the bait with AI. So we had our VOs, we had the AI characters, and then we have started building the story. And it connected. So this is how we have been now shaping up ourselves. In fact, little disclosure before this thing. For the first time, I think, even I do not know how it's going to happen, but we are organizing a Bhangra in a Punjab grill. And I do not know how it's going to shape up with, but even my management is skeptical that how it's going to happen. So we got a certified Bhangra teacher who's going to plan the whole thing. So fingers crossed. Let's see how it goes. Thank you.
It'll be very interesting. I hope to see, I'm going to start following the Instagram account, so I'm guessing the videos will be up there.
Pleasure, ma'am.
Shantanu, I'm biased. At this point, for me, it's vigilante. Honestly, I love Lola Kutti. I love HDFC's work. And as far as purpose is concerned, and every day in the news you hear or read an article about someone getting scammed in a tier 2 or a tier 3 city, right? And the way that this campaign has been envisioned, where you've taken an influencer that has such a strong regional connect and a pan-India connect, right? So that nuance. So you've covered your bases as far as influencers are concerned. You've covered your bases as far as celebrities are concerned. So the celebrity is not the hero. There is a podcast, but a Karan Johar isn't the hero. He's being interviewed by a Lola Kutti. So a Lola Kutti is vigilante, right? And even Lola herself she sort of immersed herself in the character that has been built, right? This character will continue. The amount of value that will be generated for the brand, that is HDFC, is going to be tremendous. And then the sheer amount of content, we hear and discuss content marketing and contextual marketing to death. It's an expensive proposition. But I think the math here will work out in terms of webinars, in terms of awareness exercises and how to avoid phishing attacks, how to avoid getting scammed. That call that comes and says, someone's been arrested in your family or has had an accident. They've thought it through, right? So full 360-degree beauty, and very clear purpose. There is no abstraction there as to what the marketing team was trying to do, right? And MarTech built in, right? So I think that's my favorite campaign at this point. Second is AI Granny, just the sheer virality, and if you've seen that video, again, by Orange, it's a telecom, created a character called AI Granny, whose sole job was to, keep scammers and hucksters engaged on phone calls, right? Protecting you, essentially. So if you look at the video, again, brilliant exercise in insight and execution.
I didn't want to interrupt any of you because you all give such amazing answers, but I actually put my question as an actual break, as in a campaign from the past, which you have enjoyed, but I got such amazing input, so I didn't want to spoil the flow. So, can we start with you? Like, as anything from the past that, like, something that really stood out, which also sort of had purpose?
A lot of them. Primarily, we were in, so I'll talk about Philips. So I also worked with Philips. So here we were trying to get shaver launched. Now shaver is a very difficult market for India. Right, electric shaver. So it's a relaunch kind of electric shaver. Therein, it was very difficult to make people understand, because me myself don't use it. So when you're not a customer by yourself, so it's very, to buy it or to talk about it, to go like an oath on it, it's become difficult. But here we've done an interesting thing. Obviously market search and everything takes their own this thing. We went to market. We really went to dealers. And here we have, so it's very important for a product to be launched, the person who is selling it, he should be aware. Sometimes we forget that. We just concentrate on the product, the technical bit of it, the advantages that's going to happen, the way it's going to be, and so forth and so on. But here we have taken another strategy by educating them, and not by giving a theoretical bait on them. So practically, we have visited each one of the retailers. We have showcased with 2 models that how it works and what are the benefits, because the core was no cuts. The bottom line was there was no cuts, which we usually get from the razors. So after that, the build-up was done so well that the acceptance came and little virality also came in, which gave us an opportunity to do launches in a different way. So for example, so I worked in Samsung as well. When we used to, I worked at a time when we used to launch LCDs way back. So I remember, we just doing a dealer meet and just telling them, okay, these are the 6 panels, and you just take this. And we were like, what is LCD? Why will you do that? So, just growing from there on. So for a campaign to hit it hard, we have actually then taken it on the national level as well. That how and what is the impact that this is going to happen. And it obviously saw the product growing.
I'll actually give you an example of an internal campaign. So we are generally focused on external campaign and customers and everything. This happened like almost 7-8 years back with my previous organization. And there, the challenge was that how do we include more and more people aligned to our purpose, and the purpose is essentially to give back to the society. So one thing is that you are seeing it on your company mailers, you are seeing it on website and all of that, right? It doesn't hit you hard. But yeah, you feel good, yeah, something is good is happening, we are a nice company and all of that. But if you actually dirty your hands, then you don't forget. And this is my personal story where I never forgot it. There were 2 instances. One, where our company had gone out. They used to sponsor a couple of schools, and they got went to 4th, 5th, 6th class students, and they got the notes from them that, okay, what do you need on this Christmas? And someone said, I want a color box. So they didn't have shoes. Many of their shoes was not that great. someone wanted a belly, someone wanted a pencil box, someone wanted a small bag, right? So all of us got together. Everyone was given that, there were like hundreds of us volunteers. We went, we got those shoes, we packed it, we wrote the name of that girl, and then it was sent back, and then we were shown the videos. It still brings kind of tears to my eyes. Second thing, we went to the school. The school was off for a week, and the walls were not that great. So, like, the entire 100 of us went to that school. We had to paint that school. Okay, so we went in the morning. 100 people in a small building. We did it, and we just painted what we knew. Like, I still paint what my 5-year son, paints: those mountains, rivers, sun, some birds flying. That's all that I can do for my life.
Right.
I still do that, and I did the same for that on that wall also. And then there were almost like 50, 60 walls. 2-3 people, each one of us took those walls, and we started painting. And then again, this my organization sent us the video that when the kids came to the school, the kind of how happy they were to see their walls painted. So that is something which stuck out for me, and I don't lose any opportunity ever which I get. I think it's very, very important to take along everyone who is in the organization to make them feel, what is it to do good. Digital, mailers, everything is fine. Do your hands dirty, get on the ground, do stuff. And that's when you will feel how privileged we are, what it means and what does it take, And you will not do it for anyone else, you will do it for yourself. That's a very, very important key takeaway. At least I'm glad that I did 8 years back, and I still try wherever I go, wherever I am. I try to push, can we do this? Because that's the only 2-3 ideas which I learned and I remember. And everywhere I try to push, can we do this? And it doesn't take much, right? A pencil box, 50 rupees, 100 rupees, 150 rupees, right? So.
No, that's very nice. Now we all feel bad about ourselves. Yes.
And, to bring back a point that you spoke about authenticity, and I'm just curious, that in these brands, because they are these large, consumer-facing, big companies, like, how can they bring in that, that authenticity, which the Punjabiyat, so to speak, into their particular segments?
I think it's a tricky one because the equivalent of greenwashing. It's a tricky path to walk. So if I'm a fast fashion brand, for example, right, it's going to be very difficult for me to take that road in terms of saying that I'm purpose driven, or I'm working towards the good of the world, and so on and so forth, right? So it's, like Rohit mentioned, you have to be so careful in terms of charting that campaign out, charting the course of action out, right? And who you partner with, what you associate with. So it would change vertical by vertical, it would change industry by industry. Sometimes it would get limited to CSR and it wouldn't extend to sustainability, right? So that's where brand and corporate communications and CSR have to work so very, very closely. But in terms of large brands, I would say that the objectives have to be very, very clear in terms of why are we doing it. I'll go back to that initial point that I made in terms of insight, right? What is the insight that is driving a campaign, that is driving an association, that is driving a partnership? So Punjabi, is it like a long-term strategy for us? Can we own that space, right? So you'd asked about campaigns of old. Now, campaigns of old, I think the benchmark to me personally, and this is obviously me, my own opinion, is Amul with the Muppet. How many years did they own that campaign? It still continues. That character is still alive in the world of AI-generated images and art, right? And so that social commentary, owning that space, being part of the national heartbeat, owning that, right? And being truthful to the objective of that entity, of that character. Less about Amul and Amul supporting that cause. And it has a halo effect, which you measure in terms of what is your category share, numbers at the end of the day. How much of the dairy category do you own? But yeah, so just the sprinkling of examples in terms of how a large multinational brand and a national brand can own that space. Again, I would say that it's different vertical by vertical. Be very careful. You don't want to be inauthentic. You don't want to be questioned. Virality is an everyday thing, right? You can become a meme on Instagram in a heartbeat, right? And you'll have to spend the next couple of days, weeks apologizing for a campaign. So thought and care and insights. Research, of course.
If I could just bring in one point, because again, it's very everyone knows Punjabi especially, of course, it's sort of encoded into our DNA when you want to do it. But Shikini Guru, Punjab. Could you talk about any initiatives that the restaurant itself has taken to sort of work with, to sort of spread the idea of being good?
Yeah, sure. So what happens here is that, so I'll give you an example. In fact, last year, there was exponential growth that we have done. And now, happy to share that we have 52 restaurants all over India now. Now, 52 is a big number. And to handle anyone and everything with the same consistency, sustainability, with the same integration becomes difficult, right? But as she rightly mentioned, that the core, it's that core that she was talking, that core has to be the same. We intact that core. When the restaurants takes initiatives, it's very important for them to just go little out for the customers. Okay, this space is driven largely by, definitely by the customers, but more than grievances as well. Someone has not liked the food, and if I let the customer move out, so that customer, it's very difficult for me to get back to that customer. I think everyone will agree with that. Now, what we have done as a strategy, internally, a training program has started to become robust now. It's a manager's duty to not let anyone go unsatisfied. Now, this is a big ask. Why? Because when the restaurant is full, 100% compliance or 100% quality to be taken care of, there are chances that it might not be possible. But there definitely is a possibility to, deal with the customer and give little extra so that he moves out or she moves out in a healthy manner. That's what the bait is. So now we have started doing that, though it's going to take a lot of time, because it's not only with the brand which is growing, it's also people who has to grow with the brand, especially the internal people. And when new people comes in the old organizations, they are in the same industry, they have their own way of working, their way of behaving with the level of customers. So these things actually builds up a lot. Second most important is the loyalty program, which obviously is a part of our discussion as well. Around 8 to 10 months back, we have started the loyalty program as well. So the results are positive, but still a long, long way to go. Because as this customer who's unsatisfied will never be a loyal customer. So, but if you, build up a behavioral thing along with your own people, internal people, then definitely they will have that kind of positivity that they are bothered. The brand is knowing and they want us to be with us. That's what important.
So really start at the same point about brand agnosticism, which I was good to get. But yeah, if you just, we are actually very close to time, and I'm also supposed to take audience questions. Any final thoughts that you guys would like to share? Because I'm going to bother you after the session anyway. But is there anything that you would like to share with the audience in terms of, and doing good as the conference states?
I'm actually, unlike Rohit, I haven't been spending too much time doing good other than whatever's
No,
work
Rohit's going to be
related.
albatross.
Yeah, elephant in the room. I would just say, make in India. Keep an eye out for a lot of these D2C brands. I spend a lot of time researching D2C brands. There's so many interesting emerging brands that are very, very small, but have such a clear eye on what their brand stands for, what's the purpose associated with that brand, values. They've really done their homework. These are, currently very, very small, maybe 100 CR, 150 CR, smallish brands, but an emerging market that is just going to boom in terms of, like, if you're just a brand strategist, beautiful work to keep an eye out on. You have a D2C platform as well. A lot of them are covered in that. Yeah.
So, just I think one statement: don't look at the cost of doing purpose. Look at the cost of not doing it.
Excellent. Please follow that.
So the closure, I think we had a lot of discussions, which is very good. As a marketer, it is always important for us to see the brand growing. And everybody, each one of us want that only. But somewhere there are things that he rightly just mentioned about the purpose, that it's better to do it rather than not to do it. So we try to make it happen, having a lot of thoughts. I think any marketer who would be in this room also would think the same. Just a minute I'll take, but yeah, going back to the same, that Met Gala thing. I can't tell, in the course of action, because the information of the war, the ceasefire came on Saturday, and everything was planned. And so many questions were there, but with a purpose to see the brand, to connect with the brand. I thought, let's do it. And we did it. So it's important sometimes to just go over it and just give it a chance. Good.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Actually doing good with a purpose without necessarily looking at ROI, which, and Rohit making us all feel bad. So thank you for that. No, I'm kidding, but thank you so much. This was an amazing thing. And, right. Thank you so much, guys. And we are done.